everyone, I'm Emerald, and then this is my friend Jeff Ingram from Crowbar Fitness. He's a personal trainer.
Good morning.
And so I just have a few questions for him because I'm doing this push-up challenge as to what exercises should I do to prepare for it, and what stretches or any other tips you have.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations on signing up for the challenge. I think that's a great thing, and I think you're going to do really well. As I told you when we were talking about this earlier, the worst case scenario here is that by the end of the month, you're going to be really good at doing push-ups, which is a good thing. Push-ups are, in general, an underrated and undervalued exercise. People tend, especially men, have a tendency to go towards weight-related horizontal push, which is what a push-up is. The advantage of the push-up is that it's what's called a closed chain exercise. So you're moving your body as opposed to moving an implement around your body, like in a bench press, for example. The other thing is that the push-up is very good for shoulder stability. It's very good for core stability. So as you know, at the top of a push-up, you're basically in a plank position, or at least you should be if you have your body aligned the correct way, which is great for the muscles in your core that are responsible for stabilizing your back. So you're looking at, in addition to getting the solid resistance training on your pecs, your triceps, and your shoulders, you're also getting the stability in the core and the triceps and the shoulders as well, which is really good. So all of those things combine to make the push-up an excellent exercise. And it's honestly something that everybody should do. However, a lot of people just in general kind of don't like push-ups because push-ups can be a bit of a challenge and people generally aren't good at them. So even somebody who's really good at bench pressing may not necessarily be good at doing a push-up. So in terms of how you want to approach this challenge, I think in my mind, so you had mentioned to me that you're good for about 10 push-ups in a row, and that's from your toes, right? So full push-ups. So that's really good. That's a good starting point. There are a lot of people who can't do a single push-up from their toes as well, which is not a bad thing. But again, you have to look at that, I think, as not being a negative, but just a good starting point, right? So if you know that you're able to do 10, then what you should probably start doing from the beginning is doing more work with less than 10 reps. So if 10 is kind of where you're hitting failure, where you can't possibly, with good form, do another rep, then you probably want to work with reps less than 10 and multiple sets thereof.
Oh, okay.
So what I would suggest is starting out with maybe 8 or 10 sets of 5 reps. And what you're going to find as you go through that is you're going to get better and better at performing those reps, which is always a good way of making progress. You don't necessarily need to add reps, but if your execution of those 5 reps is getting better every time you do it, then you're definitely making improvement. And the excellent thing about that is you can continue doing that almost indefinitely, right? And you're going to get to the point where you're doing, let's say, 10 sets of 5, so you're doing 50 total reps of push-ups, but each rep is just about perfect, and that's an excellent place to be. Then you want to build on that. So then potentially you're going to start doing 8 or 10 sets of 6, 8 or 10 sets of 7, right? And at that point, you might want to cut back, and then maybe you're doing 8 sets of 8, right? Or perhaps you're doing 6 sets of 10. At that point, regardless, the amount of work that you have done is going to set you up to be able to do more than 10 reps at a time. Now, going into the challenge, you don't necessarily need to be maxing out on every set that you do, which is, again, stopping before failure. Because if you go to failure on every single set that you do, it's going to be very hard to do multiple reps per day. So I did the math, not in my head. I did use a calculator. I'm only good at multiples of 45. Okay. So I believe 2,000 push-ups in 23 days. I think that came out to around 86 push-ups a day, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so if you were looking at doing something every day, which I think is the right way to do it, you want to break this up. You don't want to do, like 150 push-ups at the beginning of the week and then wait 2 days and then try to do 200, right? Oh, or leave it until the last 3 days and be like, okay, well, I'm going to do 700 push-ups every day for the next 3 days.
That just
right?
Sounds impossible.
It would be challenging for sure. So what you want to do, I think, is look at those 86 push-ups per day and possibly doing a little bit more than that so that you give yourself a bit of a cushion going in towards the end. Because if you're finished doing the 2,000 push-ups with 3 days to go, that's a good place to be. Or if you have 3 days to go and you only need to get 20, that also is a good place to be, right? Yeah. So I would suggest look at that number 86, round that up to 100, and then how are you going to approach getting 100 push-ups per day? Well, it's not going to be doing a maximum set of 10 and then trying to do max after that, because your next set's going to be 7, and your next set's going to be 3, and then you're going to be down to 1, right? Which is going to make it very hard to get 100 because you're going to be trashed after that. So what you should do again is be looking at sub-maximum work there. So what I would do is I would start at 8 and do a set of 8, right? And then get an appropriate amount of rest, whatever that might be. Nobody's telling you have to do these push-ups within a certain time period every day, right? So you can take 2 to 3 minutes in between, then do a set of 7, then do a set of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's called a ladder, and that's actually a reverse ladder because you're starting at the top and going down, right? Once you've done that, take your appropriate break, then go back up to 8 again, right? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do that 3 times. Again, I'm not able to do the math for that one in my head, but you're going to have, by the end, completed a whole bunch of reps there. Those last sets of 4, 3, 2, and 1 are not going to be difficult, but you're still getting a lot of work in. You want to make sure that your form is really good on everything. The speed that you're moving at should be relatively similar. You are going to start getting tired, so you're going to slow down towards the end, and that's going to tell you about when you're done. Again, you can do the math on that and figure out how much 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5. I can't do that in my head. And then you'll know how many of those ladders you need to do per day in order to get to about 100 reps, right? Or 80, or whatever that number is that you're setting yourself per day that is kind of a minimum. In addition to which, if you wanted to approach that as I'm going to do half of that in the morning, let's say it turns out to be 5 ladders that you have to do. You're going to get up in the morning, you're going to do 2. And later on in the afternoon, after lunch, after you're done at the gym, or while you're at the gym or whatever, then you're going to do the next 3, right? So you can split it up during the day so that you can do more. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where you're going to start those ladders at 10. And then you're going to start them at 12, right? And of course, every time you bump that up, it's more total reps. So you'll get to the point where you're going to be able to do a couple of ladders and you have all the reps that you need for the day. That may not happen until much closer to the end of the month, but that strength is absolutely going to come, especially again, if you are focused on form, doing everything properly. So that's totally okay. Just keep in mind, wherever you are is just a starting position, and decide where you would like to be and then figure out what's a way of getting there. You know, if that's something that you want to get better at, then find, you know, and you're not sure how to do it, then find a good trainer in your area, wherever that might be, and ask them for help on it. A good trainer should definitely be able to help you with push-ups, and if they can't, then trainer they may be, but the good part I would question.
Exactly, that's a good tip. Well, that's why I'm here asking you these questions.
I'm a big fan of the push-up. It used to be one of my favorite movements. I've had some injuries that make push-ups difficult for me now, but I still definitely love it for my clients, love it for anybody in general who just wants to get fit and have a movement that's going to be good for you and honestly has no real drawbacks to it whatsoever.
Well, that's good to know. So if someone's not very good at push-ups, what do you suggest?
So the most common way of getting started doing push-ups, the typical recommendation would be for people to do them from their knees, which is not my favorite way of doing it. I would rather have people do them from an incline. So rather than changing your foot position, you're going to change your hand position. The best place to do those, you can do them on anything. You can do them even standing against the wall and just lean into it. Or you can do them on a set of stairs, which is great. The stairs are great because you have easy progression there. So you can work your way from the 5th stair being relatively high as you get stronger, down to the 4th stair, down to the 3rd, down to the 2nd, until eventually you're strong enough to do push-ups on the floor. That's a really easy progression. Everybody's got stairs somewhere. You just need to make sure if you're doing them from an incline that you have good traction on your feet and you're not going to slide. So if you're in your kitchen doing them off a kitchen counter, maybe have shoes or something on that's got some traction, so you're not in your socks on your tile floor in the kitchen so you don't slip while you're in the middle of your push-up, because that wouldn't be good.
No, that's a great idea. Yeah, because push-ups for my knees actually kind of hurts my knees a little bit. So
yeah, and you're very tall, so it's not honestly going to change the angle for you as much. So you'll probably get a lot of benefit out of even, you know, again, being tall and long-limbed. Even a 5 or 6 inch is going to be good.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great tip. Jeff, what is your favorite exercise?
Favorite exercise, honestly, would be really tough to pick. I enjoy doing any kind of rowing motion or any kind of pull exercise, because that tends to be, I have a long history going back through powerlifting and Highland Games, and then I have a long history of injury as a result of competing in all those sports. So I'm not as strong as I used to be, and those kind of movements are the ones that I still have the most strength in. So I think those are probably the ones I like the most. Any kind of row motion is something that I really like. So a barbell row, a cable row, anything like that. I can always get hyped for a back workout. That's always good.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and it like takes a lot of muscles, like a lot of muscle work. So that's great. Thank you so much for your time, Jeff.
My pleasure. Hope the challenge goes well.
Oh, thank you.